Now, into the ticket office of Disneyland.
Oh boy, let's do this. Don't think the CIA is going to be trying to hack your second-gen iPod.
I didn't think so. There might have been a lot of illegal music on there. I wouldn't doubt it. But, I mean...
You were supposed to bring death to the flagships, not join them.
Google has found a new way to piss me off.
iTunes is a constant source of embarrassment.
Every time I say it, it's going to suck even more.
May I present to you the cat?
I am Medela.
I can't do it anymore without laughing. I was going to do the whole thing.
Welcome, everyone, to the Calling All Platforms podcast. I am your host, Wes, and I'm here with Landon.
Hello.
Which a young girl called him George Lucas. What was it the other day?
True. One of my daughter's friends said I look like George Lucas, which is very strange.
So, ladies and gentlemen, our very own George Lucas to this podcast, Landon.
I'm definitely the poor man's George Lucas. Let's put it that way. Emphasis on poor.
And also not as George Lucasy, I guess. Caleb.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Are you the Steven Spielberg of this?
I'm too bald to be Steven Spielberg. Man's got a full head of hair at like 70 something.
That's true. I don't know. I don't know where we'd go with that. I don't know. Who's bald and a director? I mean, not even director of Back to the Future. What's his name? I can't think of his name. Holy crap. Zemeckis is bald. So
yeah,
I'm trying to think of that group of guys. I don't know.
Yeah, they tend to not be.
I mean, I could have said Jabba the Hutt, but that might be too far.
Thanks. He doesn't have a beard.
Oh, I got one. Our very own Boba Fett.
He doesn't have a beard either.
No, that's true. But he is bald. I was thinking bald. I don't know. Who do we pick? We'll think of it. You know, listener, if you want to weigh in on this, you can. You really can. We'll put it up on there. We'll even make a cool sticker or something that we can put up on there for whatever it is. Our very own George Lucas and our very own whatever Caleb's going to be. Deal.
Oh dear.
I guess if you want to make these stickers, go for it, Wes.
Oh
Dude.
dear.
Well, that'd be awesome. We could put them up on TeePublic. Come on.
I'm in danger.
Yeah, I'm in danger. Hey, I got excited because it's not just me being fired all the time, so this is nice. Anyway, we have things to talk about. We like to talk things tech, especially for, weeks and years and however many years, 8 years that it's been. Yes, we've been talking tech. And this week is no different, dear listener. We have some things to talk about. First thing we have on here is an event. Samsung has introduced some new, quote-unquote, new phones.
Yeah, they're technically new. They have a new number associated with them. These are the S25 series of phones, listener. Samsung had their first unpacked event of the year. I say first because all of their events are unpacked, which is still very strange to me.
Yeah.
But normally I would go through these phones and tell you about this different specs that they have. There's the S25, there's the S25 Plus, and the S25 Ultra. But listener, I went through all these specs last year talking about the S24 phones.
Oh, really? Is it that bad? I didn't look.
Okay. The first thing I thought when I saw these phones and, did some research on them, I was like, okay, the hype that Wes and Caleb were giving the Switch 2 last week is the hype we should be giving to S25 phones. And we know all the details about these phones.
Okay,
yeah,
fair.
Valid.
Because, listener, so I've got pulled up on multiple tabs here the comparison between the S25, the S24, and the Plus, and the two different Pluses and the two different Ultras. The difference between the S25 and the S24, the S25 has 12 gigs of RAM versus 8, and the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy, because they have to have their own version.
It matters.
And last year's was the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 for Galaxy. So that's really it. I mean, the batteries are the same. The charging speed's the same. They're both IP68, the same screen size, the same screen, not even a different screen size. Like, yeah. Oh, they're the same. So that's fun. And then the S25 Plus and the S24 Plus is pretty much the same difference there. It's got, actually, no, they both have 12 gigs of RAM. So they're the same.
Even fewer differences.
Yep. And the biggest difference between any of the phones is the S25 Ultra to the S24 Ultra, because it has, I think, one new camera. Yep.
It also has less functionality in the S Pen.
Yes, the S Pen does not have Bluetooth LE anymore. So they have less functionality.
Yep.
But okay, the biggest selling point here: these phones are Qi 2 ready. They're not even Qi 2; they're Qi 2 ready. And the best part about that is Samsung only sells one official magnet case to go with them. So
good.
That's fun. So when the wireless I can't even remember what they're called. The people that are in charge
wireless
of
charging consortium or whatever.
That group of people, when they said that they were working with Samsung and Google, they were technically not lying, only because they also announced that Qi 2 Ready can be a thing.
Basically what they meant to say, what that announcement was, is we're working with Samsung and Google in a way that we can compromise and dumb down the standards so that they can say they're using it without actually changing anything about their phones.
Yeah.
That's what that announcement was. And now we know.
Yeah.
And boy, isn't that disappointing.
Yeah. Now, the one good thing here is the prices did not change. They start at $799 and go up to, I think the Ultra starts at either $11.99 or $10.99. I can't remember exactly, but prices year to year did not change. But if you are in the market for a new Samsung phone, I would probably say go buy the S24 phone, whichever version you want, but get last year's model, because it's going to save you probably $300 to $400.
Yeah.
And you're going to be getting the same experience. Now, you won't
Basically
get one less year of updates, but you're getting 6 years of updates versus 7. If you have the phone for 6 years, good on you.
And what about all of the amazing AI features that they talked about in this event? Will you be getting all of those? Because we all know, Apple especially knows, how effective making a phone with no updates and then marketing the entire thing based off of AI is at selling phones.
Yeah,
we know that's what everyone wants.
That is fair. That is the main marketing feature here as well, is AI stuff. But Samsung, one way Samsung is slightly better than Apple is not holding back software updates because of a supposed hardware issue that really isn't in existence. So I think someone asked Samsung about that. They didn't blatantly say that, yes, the S24 Ultra or S24 phones will be getting all of these AI features, but they very heavily hinted at that. So if you really care about all these new AI stuff, which is going to be coming to Android in general in the next couple months, because that's what happened last year as well, then again, buy the S24 phones, because they're more or less the same phones. I guess the only difference here is if you get one of the new phones, they have different colors. So if you don't get a case, or if you get a clear case because you want it to be Qi 2 ready, then you can show off the new colors, I guess. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been this way for Samsung and the iPhone for the last about 4 years, where it's just very minor updates, but this is by far the most minor update that we've seen this far.
It's just getting worse year over year.
Yeah. And to an extent, I don't necessarily, well, I can't say I don't blame Samsung, but I understand kind of, because there's only, I can't really, I don't even know if I can say this realistically. I would say there's only so much you can do hardware wise nowadays, which is kind of true, but at the same time, you could do something.
Yeah, here's my thing. This is both Apple and Samsung are probably like the poster boys of this phenomenon at the moment.
Yeah.
But basically everybody making smartphones at scale is guilty of this.
Yeah.
So that includes Google, that includes all the Chinese companies, that includes, even companies like Motorola and whatnot, where the phones that they're making are designed to just hit a basic checklist. And they are not putting any actual money into research and development because that costs money.
Right.
Like I feel like there's not anybody actually trying to do anything new, even to the extent where Samsung's last couple of years of foldables have felt like just a rehashed, extremely incremental upgrade from the previous year. And I'm like, I'm sorry, this was supposed to be the big new innovation in this space. You're not doing anything with it, right? Like, it's not changing at all. We're seeing more innovative stuff happening in the laptop space, which that's a form factor that's been around for decades longer than the modern smartphone.
Yeah.
And yet we're still seeing companies do new and interesting things there. And yeah, sure, the form factor of the phone is extremely limiting, right? The fact that you've got to keep it all day battery life, and it's got to fit in pockets or a purse, and has to be able to do all the computing stuff that we expect it to do. Yes, that's a limiting factor. I get that. I understand that. But you honestly want to look me in the face and tell me that Samsung or Apple, with however many billions of dollars they have available for research and development year over year, couldn't do anything new or interesting with their phones? I refuse to believe that. And I get it. Apple has always been, has generally been super conservative about new products and new product categories and that kind of thing. They rarely ever are the first out the gate with something. They wait for other people to iterate on it before they take all the best ideas and then release the polished version, right? But also this is the company that launched the iPhone in the first place,
Yep.
And that was kind of a big deal. So what do I want to see from them in terms of innovation? Okay, cool. A holographic screen that floats above your hand would be really nifty or something like that. But no, that's not what I'm looking for. But I'll bet you money that they could sit down a big team of extremely talented engineers with an unlimited budget for a year or two and give me a phone that can be taken apart entirely with a basic Phillips screwdriver, and all of the parts inside of them are easily replaceable and stuff like that. Like, all of this is definitely possible. I know it is, Apple, but they're not doing that. They're choosing not to do that. And instead they're selling us AI slop. Because they know people are going to buy it. As consumers, they think we're idiots. And that's really what this comes down to. And yes, Apple and Samsung, I think, are probably the worst offenders, but everybody is doing this in the smartphone space, and people we all keep buying the phones. And so therefore they have no motivation to change. So,
I was thinking about this while you were talking, and it's like the biggest upgrades nowadays, like the past 4 years, have more or less come in software side of things. And that's fine. I don't mind getting better software, which we do need. We always are going to need better software. But you can also do things with the hardware to just try some. Samsung, you used to be the ones that would just try, and
Yeah.
and if it worked, great. If it didn't, then you moved on. You haven't done that in 6 years, probably.
Yep.
Like, and the other problem is, like, Apple moved away from doing S versions of phones. Well, in the naming, at least, they've moved away from the naming of S versions of phone. They haven't moved away from making an S version of a phone, which is what the 25 series of phones is, and what the 13, 14, and 15 phones have been for
we're
iPhone.
on like the SSS version of this design at this point. Holy crap.
Yeah. So, like, I'm fine if you want to do that every year or two, but name it that way. Don't name it the next version and expect us to think it's going to be that much better, because it's not. And I can't remember where I heard this. I heard on another podcast, someone going over the idea is like, okay, have we reached the point in the smartphone realm where, one, we either don't need the yearly updates, which I kind of am fine if we don't have the yearly updates, or two, it's kind of how it is with cars, where there will be a model change 1 year, and then the next couple years they are iterative updates, but it's still that version of the car. It's not, it's not announced as a new car. It's like, okay, they put in a nicer filter here or a tweak here, something like that, and it's just the same body style, same model of the car. And we've kind of gotten to that point with phones, and that's fine, but don't try and sell it to us as the next absolute best, greatest thing we've ever created, because it's not really.
Like if I go into a dealership and somebody finds out that, if like it's 2025, if I bought a 2024 Tahoe last year and I walked into a Chevy dealership today, the salesman would not try and sell me a 2025 Tahoe. They would either try to sell me a different vehicle entirely, or they'd be like, you know what? That thing probably needs some service done.
Yeah.
Do you want us to service your vehicle? Right? Because, like, it's the same car, and they know that. They know I know that. Yes, were there minor updates? Probably, to, like, software, maybe some color options for the trim, something like that. Like, I don't know, maybe they swapped out the part number on the engine air filter or something like that. All basic crap. And that's what the phones are. And that's totally fine, like you said, if they want to update it every year, but they need to say, like, okay, here's the iPhone, I guess at this point, the iPhone 14 model year 2024, and it's been mildly updated. Here's the things that are changed, but then expect people to not upgrade every year, right? We should be on a 3 to 4, maybe even 5-year upgrade cadence, if that's how they want to build phones.
Yep.
So otherwise, you guys, they need to just be doing something that's, like, honestly, build a kickstand into the back of the phone. I don't know. Like, just do something. Put the USB port on the top for no reason, just to see if it's better. Like, do stupid random crap. Do something. Do anything. I feel like the kid poking a dead animal with a stick. Do something.
Do something.
Yeah. Do it.
That's the entire smartphone market right now.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's like, if we do go to that route, we don't need these hour-plus long events. This very easily could have been a blog post or update the website. Be like, hey, look, there's a new version of the phone. It's got new colors. And if that's how you want to change to say, yeah, this is the new year model, it's got new colors. Cars do that all the time. It's like the 2025 version has a different color than the 2024. Okay, what do you do? That's how you can tell you got the slightly different version. Because, I mean, that's really all Samsung did, but they didn't need to have an hour and 15-minute long event talking about that.
Yeah, 100%. What was actually probably the funniest thing about this whole situation to me is that literally the day before this Samsung event, I was fed up on YouTube. The algorithm fed me a Samsung ad, like pre-roll ad onto a video I was watching, that was making fun of the fact that Apple phones have not been changing much year over year. It was the whole, like, a whole bunch of people standing outside of a quote unquote, like, in unidentifiable tech store, but
Yeah.
it's obviously an Apple store. And their dude at the front is holding a phone box. And it's just like, what's different this year? And somebody behind him is all like, doesn't matter. And the voiceover says, Simon says, buy a new phone. And it's like, oh, don't do that. Don't be a sheep. Buy a Samsung instead. And then they released literally the same phone as last year. I'm like, wow, at least Apple put a new shutter button for the camera on the side. Like,
Yeah.
come on, guys.
I mean, yeah,
That
it's
was
like
so bad.
we've complained about the iPhone, but they did, at least, like you said, they did something to
There's a button.
to try to make it better for the user. And in some ways it might for some people, but I mean, it's at least something versus Samsung, literally nothing.
That was so ironic. I loved
It's so stupid. And then the most interesting part of this whole keynote happened to be right at the very end. They did mention, well, they kind of teased what they're calling a new Samsung Galaxy Edge phone. But listener, it's not a Galaxy Edge, because if you remember back in 2000, probably 11, maybe 12, they had a Galaxy Edge. It was the Note Edge, and it had one side of the phone, the display actually curved around to the edge of the phone, and it had some different functionality. And it was something that like I said, Samsung used to
It
throw
was
crap at the
different.
wall just to see if it would work. That's one of the
Yeah.
things that actually stuck. The next year they came out with a phone that both sides of the phone wrapped around to the edge of the phone, and it looked really cool. It was very unique. Nobody else really did that type of, like, not bendable, but like rolling screen, you know.
Yeah.
Not, at least not to the extent Samsung did, that's for sure. And it was cool. But this is not that phone. This is what we were assuming was going to be called the S25 Slim, because that's what it is. It's an S25 phone, but skinnier, because
Yeah.
everyone wants a thinner phone, right?
Well, because that's what Apple is rumored to be releasing, is a skinnier iPhone. Instead of the Plus next year, listener,
Yeah.
we're expecting to get the iPhone and the iPhone Air, and then the iPhone Pro.
Yep.
So that's dumb. It's the dumbest thing ever. I've ever. It's, oh man. And here's the thing: the rumors say it's going to be Apple's thinnest device ever, and I'm like, oh, good, thinner than the extra thin iPad Pros that have been selling like butt.
Yeah.
Wow, good job, Apple.
Yeah.
Because the issue there was that they weren't thin enough. Yeah. What? And then Apple is over, or Samsung is over here copying all of their homework, right? Like, oh, they didn't update their phones at all, so let's not update our phones. And they're trying to sell everything based off of the inclusion of AI, so I guess let's just focus on AI being the only selling point of these phones. Oh, they're rumored to be making an extra thin one. Galaxy Edge. Frickin'.
Yeah.
I hate the smartphone market right now.
Yeah. And like that
It
one,
makes me so sad.
that one we don't have any details on. They did show it at the event, kind of. Like, people could go look at it, but they couldn't touch it, couldn't play around with it.
Mm-hmm.
But the rumored specs on it are a smaller 3,900 milliamp hour battery. The S24 or S25 has a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. So this is going to have a smaller battery, because obviously it's thinner. It's going to have a smaller battery and a worse camera. It will have two cameras, but that's also a downgrade, because the S25 has three cameras. So if they don't make this cheaper than the S25, that's just awful. And I could see them making it at least the same or slightly more, because the technology to make it so thin was so much more expensive. That's what Apple's going to do, and it's going to be stupid, and I'm going to call them out on their crap for that too. But if Samsung does it as well, if you want a stupidly thin phone for some reason, and you want to lower the specs, don't make it expensive too, because that's it's not going to. I really hope these phones don't sell because, again, nobody I know is asking for a thinner phone. Everybody I know is asking for more battery life. And this is not the way to do
Here's
that.
the thing. Even if you're not asking for more battery life, you don't want a thinner phone. Listener,
No.
I don't know if you were paying attention. If this is a couple years ago, when Apple made their, at the time, thinnest phone that was also kind of big, the iPhone 6. Anyone remember the iPhone 6?
Yep.
How you could stick that in your back pocket and sit on it and it would fold in half?
Mm-hmm.
That was not a foldable phone.
It was not supposed to be a foldable phone.
Not supposed to do that, but it did.
Mm-hmm.
And no. We don't want thinner phones. Nobody wants a thinner, weaker, less robust phone. Nobody's asking for that. That is not, nobody wants a lighter phone. Anybody who is asking for a phone that weighs less than their current phone doesn't want a thinner phone. They want a one-handable phone with a smaller screen. Apple, they want the mini. Actually, Samsung, you want me to buy a phone? Make a mini. Make a Galaxy Mini. I will buy one. I will ditch Apple and buy a Samsung phone if you give me that form factor. That's what people asked for. And like, it's very frustrating because they're like, yeah, okay, we have this target market, right? Which is not the whole smartphone market. Most people are totally fine with a 6-inch screen, right? Like that's 6.1 inch, whatever the standard iPhone size is. That's kind of what the majority of people want. Then you have a subset of people that want a bigger screen than that. Yeah. And you have a subset of people who want a smaller screen than that. And what they've taken from this is that people have said, like, yes, I would like a smaller phone, but because we didn't sell as many iPhone minis as we thought we were going to sell, what they must have meant was they wanted a thinner phone or something. I don't pretend to know what is going on in the heads of the executives at Apple because, frankly, the majority of the decisions they have made over the past decade or so are just baffling to me. Like, stuff like the Mac Mini that's sitting on my desk right now happens so almost accidentally that I feel like it's a fluke in the bureaucracy that it even exists, you know?
Yep.
Like, the base model Mac Mini is such a good product that it honestly feels like an accident.
It's like, wait a minute, you actually launched oh no.
I was joking. We can't give the consumers what they want.
No, we tell them what they want.
Yeah, so I don't know. The whole like super thin phone trend, I hope that dies an ignominious and extremely swift death.
Yes.
Listener, do not, under any circumstances, buy the thin phones that are going to be coming out in the next year and a half. Just don't. Don't
Please.
do it. Don't encourage them. In fact, go out this year and buy the thickest phone you can find. It's going to be probably Energizer branded or something like that. It'll have like it'll be a giant battery bank with a phone on the front of it, essentially. Buy that. Send the message that we all want extremely fat phones, just so that next year we can watch Samsung and Apple release ridiculously thick phones with huge batteries, because that would be so funny. Come on.
Yep. That would be fantastic. The other last little thing that was slightly hinted at was at the end of the thing, they showed on the screen some different things that they're working on that included the Android XR headset that Samsung and Google are working together on. It didn't actually show a real version of the headset. It was like a blueprint type style headset and some glasses and the folding phones, but also a tri-folding phone, which has been rumored for Samsung for a few months now. So it does show that they are at least working on something to compete with Huawei.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're just copying that from somebody else's homework. Like,
Yes. But at least they're trying to do something that's actually new-ish.
Yeah.
At least new for them versus the same old thing for the last 4 years in their flagship phones. So that was actually interesting. The little hints and teaser type things that they mentioned, other than the stupid Edge phone. It's not an Edge phone. But yeah, that was the Samsung Unpacked event for January. It's last year's phones, new colors.
Sick. Dang. Well,
You know what? I just had a realization. The smartphone industry has turned into the graphing calculator industry. That's where we're at now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you're aware, listener, but when I was in high school, the new hotness was the TI-89 Plus.
Yeah.
And it was the same as the TI-89. And, you know, they had the TI-85 and the TI-84 and 83 and stuff like that. You know, different levels of functionality built into these Texas Instruments graphing calculators. And I was like, you know, this is technology that is fundamentally like 1 million years old. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to just Google that real quick and look. And yeah, it turns out that the new hotness is currently the TI Nspire, which is a TI-89.
Yep.
Except it's got a little QWERTY keyboard on the bottom so that you can type in like variable names and stuff faster.
Oh, it's a BlackBerry version.
Basically, yeah. They're still selling a TI-84. That's still a thing that exists.
Oh, wow.
There's scientific calculators. They look basically exactly the same. Like, this is just a new coat of polish on the exact same calculators that they have been selling for going on probably 30 years at this point. So that's the smartphone industry. That's the direction we're cruising there. And I guess that is what it is. But at least, you know what? At least the TI-89 Plus had an IR blaster on it, so you could use it as a TV remote.
Yep.
Like,
which teachers absolutely
smartphones
hated.
can't even do that. Oh no, they really did not like that. so much fun.
Oh, it's funny. Well, I don't know if that's something to look forward to, but anywho. Next thing on the docket here, we have some Google news we want to talk about. We got the Android 16 beta, which is now available.
Yeah, and that is, I mean, we're kind of expecting it, but it's still, because it's so early in the year, it's crazy to think about that we have an Android beta fully available in January. Whereas, like the last few years, the developer betas were coming out in February. And then the betas would come out in the summer after I.O. Whereas now, we could get a full-on regular version of Android launching at I.O., which is kind of cool and kind of crazy. But
yeah,
I'm really liking what Google's doing in that side of things. It's pretty cool. Now, listener, if you are the type of person that loves throwing beta versions of software on your phone, then I guess go for it. But I still don't know if that's the best thing to do. But it's an option now. I would maybe look into it a little bit to see how buggy it actually is before doing that if you don't have a spare device to put it on. Because it's a first public beta. There's going to be bugs, and it could be big bugs, so just be aware of that. Some of the main things, the two main things that I want to talk about with this update that are user-facing changes are there's an improved app adaptivity. Wow, that's a hard word to say, at least for me. Improved app adapt. Oh my gosh. It adapts to your screen size a lot better. There you go.
There we go.
Basically, what this does is app developers could basically limit their phone or their app to only be a specific dimension on like bigger screens. And they had the option to choose that. So if you had like a foldable phone that opened up or a tablet, you'd have an app on there that basically just looks like a regular phone app, which is absolutely awful. And it's just not fun. I mean, that's going back to the iPad 1 days, because that's how it used to be on the iPad too.
Yeah.
It was horrible. And then Apple made developers fix it, and they did. now Google is finally making developers kind of fix it in a way, because they can't opt out of this feature at the moment, from what I understand. So it basically takes an app and stretches it out to fit on the display and makes it look better. It's still not going to be as good as it could be if the developer were to actually, develop it to fit on a bigger screen. But the versions or the screenshots that I've seen of this so far, they do look a lot better, and I do like that. So that's one of the things. And then the other feature that is definitely copying Apple, but it's a thing from Apple that I'm like, hey, that's actually smart to copy. Android is calling it live updates. What it is on iOS is live activities. Basically what this is, like, if you're on your home screen where the dynamic island is, it shows different things. Like if you have, say you ordered something online, or like ordered some food from Pizza Hut or whatever, it'll give you a little live tracker up at the top of your screen and the dynamic island of if your pizza's ready or if it's being delivered. And same thing on the home screen or on the lock screen, it'll give you that little live update. I really like that. I don't have the dynamic island on my phone. I don't have that new of a phone, but I do have the live activities on my lock screen, and I do like that. It's a really cool feature. The main thing I use it for actually is the local hockey team. Their in-house app that they have actually has live activities. So when the games are on, if I'm not watching it, I can look at the score, see what's going on right on my lock screen. Really cool. ESPN also does stuff like that. So there's different apps that take advantage of this. But now Google is bringing that to Android in what they're calling live updates. And it does also have the dynamic island type thing at the top of the screen where, no Android phone has a dynamic island that they call it, but they do have the hole punch cutout usually right there, or hole punch camera right there in the center of the phone. And it'll just kind of do the same thing that live activity does. And it also works on the lock screen. Those are the two user-facing things that most people are going to notice. There's other things in the background, obviously, but most of those are developer-type things that you're not going to really notice for the most part. There's some little camera improvements, little video-type things that, again, most people aren't going to really notice. But that's what's there in this beta version of Android 16. So like I said, if you don't care about your phone working on a regular basis, go ahead and install it. If you do, probably wait. But that is now available for the public to test out if they really want to.
Yeah. I am not going to do that.
Oh, come on, Wes.
I am not going to do that. But enjoy, listener, if you want to do that. All right. Next thing here, we have some general tech news. We're going to talk about the RTX 5090 launch.
Yeah, so the GeForce RTX 5090, NVIDIA's latest hotness, has launched. This past week, the review embargo for the Founders Edition card lifted, and then the day after that, all of the third-party board partner cards. Things to note: the Founders Edition is a 2-slot card, which they're managing to pull off in terms of cooling, because the board for it is so. A few years ago, NVIDIA started with their Founders Edition cards doing blow-through fans, right? Where the board was shorter than the length of the actual cooler itself, because fins would overhang the end of the board on the graphics card, so the fan could blow air all the way through it, which improves the efficiency of the airflow pattern, which means that heat is removed better and it cools better and stuff like that. And that was cool. It allowed them to make slightly thinner cards. This has 2 blow-through fans on it, meaning that the board is actually just the width of the space between the 2 fans on the RTX 5090. So they were able to keep it down to 2 slots instead of 3 slots, or almost 4 slots, which is what the last one, the 4090 was.
That was big.
So that's pretty neat. They did some cool engineering with that for sure. The add-in board partner cards, by comparison, do tend to be quite a bit thicker, though it looks like they also tend to run quite a bit cooler. So NVIDIA is definitely pushing it a little bit with this dual slot configuration, but that means it's going to fit into a lot more cases. So, okay, kind of cool. The long and short of all of the reviews is that in general, this card is about 30% faster than the RTX 4090, not like 3 times faster like they said it was going to be, because they were basing that number off of the magic number that they got from their new version of DLSS that allows multi-frame generation via AI, whereas the AI frame generation tech on the 4090 can only generate 1 AI frame per actual frame. The 5090 can generate 3 AI frames per actual frame. And so that means that
Yay.
you can have 3 times as many frames as the 4090, but 3/4 of the game that you're looking at were hallucinated by a computer. So don't know if that's exactly a great thing. But in actual, head-to-head performance, about 30% faster than the 4090, right? So it is faster. That's because it has 30% more graphics processing cores and draws 30% more power than the 4090 does. So it's just drawing more power with more cores. And yeah, 30%. So the maths, right? It's 30% more card. It goes 30% more fast. And it only costs 20% more MSRP. So it's a bargain if you think. To be clear, you remember the days when year over year for a processor or graphics card, you would get 30% more performance at the same price as the last one?
Yep.
Those days are behind us. This is now the new future where everything sucks and nobody's happy. So yeah, it's a really competitively priced card at $2,000 if you are comparing it to dedicated AI like server hardware. And if you're comparing it to that, then shut up, go away. Nobody likes you. It's a GeForce card. This is supposed to be for gaming. Frickin' go buy a Quadro. Nobody wants you around. Go away. Anyways. So that's the takeaway there. And listener, if for some reason everything that I just said didn't make you want to not ever buy anything from NVIDIA ever again, you can go buy a 5090 right now from a scalper on eBay for about $4,000. So have fun. Flawless graphics card launch. Good job, NVIDIA. I'm pretty sure that the reason why you can't buy any of these, in addition to the scalpers buying them and selling them on eBay, is because probably both the United States government and the Chinese government bought all the rest of them to use in AI farms to hallucinate cat photos on Instagram to try and control public perception of random policies that nobody's actually paying attention to. I don't know. I cannot. I hate everything about this. As a consumer, none of this was for me.
Nope.
Despite them saying the whole time that it was for me. Nope. Okay. Cool. Hate it. Move on.
Well, let's move on. We're going to get into some gaming news. This past week, Microsoft had their Developer Direct. This is the second one they've ever had. This one, usually the one they had last year, kind of was more like all of, company they bought. Bethesda. Oh my gosh, that took me, sorry. Lost that word for a second. When they bought Bethesda, it was a lot of Bethesda games and Shadow Drops. This one was a little more spread out. So let's go ahead and talk about the Shadow Drop that came out. Those of you that are excited about Ninja Gaiden, they remastered Ninja Gaiden 2 and is available on Game Pass. The Shadow Drop.
Yeah.
That came out how many years ago?
Oh.
It was like quite a few. Back in the 13 years ago. There it is.
Yeah.
Xbox 360. And then they announced that Ninja Gaiden 4 is coming out. They're working with this publisher. I had it written right here, but now I don't. Publisher, they worked with them to get this going on there for Game Pass. So.
Yeah, good. We needed more. We needed the Dark Souls generation to remember what hard games were before
Yes.
Dark Souls. Like it wasn't always just incredibly punishing health bars and bosses that required both patience and strategy and stuff like that over extended periods of time. It used to be just, how good are your reflexes, man?
Yeah.
Oh, they suck? Sorry. You're never going to make it past the first level of this.
They said that, it's crazy. So, with the new game that's coming out, they also announced Team Ninja from Platinum Games. That's who it is. I did have it written down here. They did say in the fall of 2025 for Ninja Gaiden 4 should be coming to Game Pass on their day one, which was the secret game that they were hinting at. So,
Yeah.
those of you Ninja Gaiden fans, and I guess early Elden Ring. Yeah.
Listen, if you think you've been having a hard time with Elden Ring, at least with Elden Ring, you can learn, right? Like my experience with Ninja Gaiden is that there's nothing, like there's no learned skill there. If your hand-eye coordination isn't good enough, you're just not gonna get it. Or like if the latency of your TV is too slow, then sorry, you're just SOL. Like you can't play this game. So
that's funny.
yeah, like it's, and I mean, I guess I'm not paying it. I don't, generally speaking, pay attention to games that are just hard as nails for no reason other than being hard as nails, which is kind of what Ninja Gaiden is.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there are other games out there like that right now. My impression is that most of them have a difficulty slider that you can turn down if you want to actually finish the game. And so it'll be interesting to kind of see how that performs in this modern era of gaming.
Yeah, we'll see how it comes. The next studio that they wanted to highlight was Compulsion Games. This is actually one of the 6 studios they bought before Activision back in 2018. This game that they were making and that wanted to highlight there was the South of Midnight game. This is that American Deep South adventure game, kind of that handcrafted art style. They showed off a trailer and also announced that it's coming out on April 8th this year, 2025. Coming to obviously Xbox and everything on their Xbox Game Pass like that. So
yeah,
pretty awesome. The next one they had talked about was Expedition 33. This one it's an RPG turn-based, kind of a fantasy. It's set in the fantasy version of the late 19th century France. Thought this was kind of interesting. It's that one where if you turn 33, then you die. Like there's a number 33, and then only people, and they're trying. There's only like select people that are 33 to go fight this whatever this power is, but this power keeps changing the number of, if you're 34 or 33, then you die type thing. And so it's kind of a inspired by like Final Fantasy games, very Japanese games like that. So that'll be released on April 24th of 2025 this year. And then, of course, last but not least, id Software with Doom: The Dark Ages. Got to go in there and see all of id Software, what they were talking about. This one's probably the one that mostly spoke to me out of all the games. Just because
play me.
It really just
That's what it
like
said.
that. I guess the most excitement. I've played pretty much every Doom game on there, but this one they did talk about. So Doom Eternal was kind of that really fast jump and shoot, all this just super fast. They said this one is actually going to be more return to form, where you're just a tank and you're just destroying things. It's not really fast, but you're going to be killing stuff with a shield chainsaw.
Yeah.
and a flail, kind of medieval.
I
And so it'll
will
be
say,
interesting.
like the chain mace grappling hook type thing with the chainsaw shield and all that really speaks to me at like a fundamental level. The requirement that it can only be played on hardware that supports ray tracing speaks to me less, I must say.
Yeah, true.
Not
That is
as
true.
big a fan of that one.
They said that this one is a prequel to the actual Doom 2016 reboot, is what this is. So you kind of, which is a sequel to Doom 64? Oh, geez. They're trying to make Doom have some chronological order here.
No, look, I'm sorry. You can't do that. The original Doom guy was just a dude.
Yeah.
Right?
Dude.
Like, I appreciate that it's become more than that, and the modern version of Doom guy is great, and I love that, like, whole basically he's just too angry to die aesthetic is great. I love it. But don't try and retroactively make the original Doom guy into that, because that was just an Earth dude who got stuck in a bad place with some guns.
I mean, he just kept ripping and tearing, and now he's the Doom Slayer. So
sure.
And that one, Doom: The Dark Ages, is going to be released later this year on May 15th, 2025. Xbox Series X and S, the Xbox app for PC, Game Pass, Steam, and Sony PlayStation 5. So that's what they talked about. They each had their own video where they went and saw the studios and they talked about the games. And if you're interested in those, I would suggest go check them out. Might really enjoy them. I the only one I actually really watched was the Doom one, because it's like, okay, I like to see what id's doing, and why not? So, and that's what's happening there. So a lot of, I would say these are a lot of high profile games coming at the beginning of this year of 2025 for Xbox. So, and let's be real, for PC and PlayStation for some of these. So cool. Got those. And that's what I wanted to mention there. There's not really anything else in the gaming world, because, I mean, I think everyone's getting ready for not E3 now.
Yeah.
It's coming for later in the year. And actually, I believe there was supposed to be a PlayStation Direct and then Nintendo, or a PlayStation, what do they call them? State of Plays?
Yeah, State of Play.
And then, obviously, Nintendo, they said April 1st or 2nd, or that first week of April sometime, they're going to do their Switch announcement, which I'm sure there's going to be so many games for that thing that are coming out. I mean, they always do. They have
probably it'll be all of
Mario.
the Switch games. You know, they'll be like, oh yeah, everything on Switch you can play on Switch too, because it's the same console.
Yeah, that Landon might be buying. So
I mean, that's what it takes,
which is cool. Then we can then finally do a video that has all of us together playing, and we put it on YouTube. Play something. Who knows?
Play
It'll
something.
come to that Switch too.
I mean, we technically could have been doing that the whole time. I've got a computer.
It's a Mac though, so
it plays games.
Does
Maybe not
it,
the games
though?
you want to play, but the games I want to play, it probably would be fine.
We could load an emulator up.
I'm
onto
sorry
it
you don't
and-
want to stream Solitaire or whatever.
You know, one of these days, what we ought to do
Let's
is
do a
get in our
Minesweeper stream.
Minecraft server and highlight the soccer stadium you built with a mobile phone version.
Yeah, with his phone. That's
With his
the
phone.
impressive part.
That's the thing. I want you to remember, he built this all on his phone, not with the controller.
Nope. I use touchscreen
This
controls
is
the whole time.
touchscreen controls. I'm just saying that we ought to
It's
throw up on the YouTube.
It's like trying to play a game whilst wrestling an oiled up pig.
Also, not in
That's what
creative
touchscreen
mode.
controls
It was
are.
like
No,
I had
in
to
survival mode, like peaceful survival mode, but still
Yeah,
survival.
Still,
I had to go and find all the stuff to make that stadium.
exactly. It's impressive. And all while, I had no idea it was there.
Yeah, it's
So
just this
recently-
ginormous floating building in the middle of nowhere.
It was just funny because I was like, I would hop on there and I just,
Just never
I don't
walked in that
I
direction.
never walked in that direction. And then finally he's like, oh yeah, you haven't seen this? Was showing me. And I'm like, wait, where is this? And I went over, and sure enough, there it was. Crazy. Maybe we'll do that. All right, we're going to move on. And to listener, this is one of our favorite sections. We like to have its own little thing called Doom News.
That's right, listener. We've got it 2 weeks in a row. Last week, we were talking about Doom in a PDF. This week, literally, like days after the guy released the PDF that you could play Doom in, another guy got onto Reddit to release a Word document that you could play Doom in.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to look it up here. Let's see.
So this is fairly straightforward. It is essentially the entirety of Doom embedded in a Visual Basic macro inside of Word, inside of a Word doc. So you download the Word document and it activate the macro and it's Doom. Like it's just playing Doom right in there. It's the original code base for Doom, right? It's just executing the software. And so, you know, what I said last week about how if you are emailed a PDF and you don't know who it came from or what it is, you should not just open it. Apparently that goes for Word documents as well. Like when Word starts up and it says, hey, this document contains macros. Macros can be harmful to your computer. Do you want to activate them? If you don't know exactly where that document came from and exactly what is in that document, do not activate the macros, because evidently they can just execute entire pieces of software inside of a Word document to the extent that you can just play Doom in a macro. So yeah, Doom modders are doing fun and interesting, kind of funny things, but at the same time, this has been revealing kind of like a horrible blind spot that I did not realize I had in our Office software.
Mm-hmm.
So, cool, great, fun, having a good time. Everyone having a good time.
Yeah.
I feel safe and secure in my usage of daily pieces of software.
Yikes. But hey, Doom modders.
Yeah, I mean, right? Like this guy is fun, and honestly, he's doing a good work here in making it known that this is the sort of thing you can do with a Word document. So that now I know to be more careful.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So good. And also a Word document you can play Doom in. So all right, I'll take it.
Deal. Wish I had that in school, right? When I would go to school.
Yes.
I'm totally working on this word processing document.
No,
totally.
just save that. See, that would have been great to just have on a flash drive, because they just wanted us to keep everything on a flash drive, right?
Yep.
So I had a flash drive. I could have just stuck it in there, open up a Word document, and play Doom.
You know, that reminds me, I took a class, I can't even remember what it was called, but they taught us how to program in Flash. Listener, if you don't know what Flash is, Google it. It was fun. But they taught us that, and I, you know, being the person that I am, I did all the assignments relatively quickly because it wasn't that difficult to do. And in the meantime, I made my own version of the Snake game inside of Flash and saved it on a flash drive. And so anytime I got done with the assignment with 20 minutes left of class, I would just open up the Snake game and start playing that. And my teacher didn't care because I got the assignment done. So
Yeah.
great.
Heck yeah.
Now you can do that with a Word document in Doom.
Yeah. I mean, we're not condoning downloading this Word document and carrying it around or sticking it in your, what are they? I don't know, box or Google Drive or whatever your school uses for cloud storage for your homework, because I assume they don't have you carry flash drives around anymore.
Please don't.
Yeah, seriously. But, you know, yeah, just save that in there and then open it up on the computers in your computer lab at school and play Doom during class. Like, don't do that. That's a terrible thing you should 100% not do.
I'm not going to say, I'm not going to tell you to do it, but I'm also not going to tell you to not do
not
it.
going to say not to do it. Here's what I will say. If your school's IT person hasn't locked down the installs of Word such that you can't run macros in them, and they'll just let you open that, it's kind of on them, you know?
Yeah.
That's not on you. They really shouldn't have made it so you could do that. they have control over that. It's kind of not your fault. And when the teacher catches you and gets mad at you, you can tell them, I said that. It's not your fault. This is the IT department.
That's awesome. Well, dear listener, I believe that's the end of our episode. Unless, Landon, you got one more thing for us.
Nope.
All right. Well, listener, that is the end of the episode. We appreciate you listening. If you want to get a hold of us or decide that what you want to call Caleb, that's like a George Lucas or whatever you want to call him, let us know. You know, our Calling All Platforms website there. Also, our social media platforms. You can hop on there and send us a little thing. Also, we have a YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe to that. Take a look at some of those videos. Mostly it's, Caleb playing and me just with voice because I couldn't use, with the internet I had at the time, you couldn't use that video because it was terrible.
There's a lot of good old videos on there. And no new ones, but a lot of good old ones.
All right, dear listener. Have a good week.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Calling All Platforms is a production of Supporter Sound Studios. To learn more about how you can support the podcast, go to www.patreon.com/callingallplatforms.